Hi, I'm Christophe Langlois, and you're on Visible Banking. I started blogging and sharing my vision of social media in financial services back in February 2007. And in March 2009, my team at Visible Banking started to benchmark and track how financial institutions are using channels like Facebook or Twitter. On Twitter, we now track more than 1,500 accounts in 72 countries. Two key topics on Twitter and favorite topics to me anyway. One is content strategy, okay, and second is what I call KYF, know your followers. Okay, it's very important to understand who is following you. Yeah, the better you understand who those people are, the better you can identify your influencers, and again, you can fine-tune your content strategy, polish your reward strategy, and then drive business. Okay, if you don't know who is following you, it's very difficult to do so. Yeah, but the first topic, as I said, is content. You're on Twitter, be on Twitter. Yeah, it's one thing to open an account, something very different to basically reflect a good image of you on Twitter, a trusted image perception of your brand, and to engage with people and to produce content. Yeah. So I'm telling you today that based on a research of the 1,500 plus accounts, okay, 90% are inactive, which means that 90% of those accounts have already started to leverage Twitter. You can be on Twitter, it's one thing to be there, but you need to engage, yeah? And with the amount of data, reports, materials financial institutions are providing and are creating, producing every day, there's no reason not to do so. There's no excuses as well, yeah? Content strategy is super important on Twitter, yeah? But first of all, let's talk about Twitter, yeah? 200 million registered users, registered. And back in early September, the Twitter executives shared a few more information. It's always a black box usually, understanding level of activity. And they said basically that 100 million users were active out of the 200 million, yeah? So it's already 50% of those registered users which are not active at all. They're robots or they're one-time, accounts, nobody's using them, yeah? So 100 million active users, and active actually, meaning that's logging onto the site, yeah? Of those 100 million, I believe that they claim that roughly 40%, okay, hadn't tweeted in the last month. So it's not really active, right? Active is there's two things: it's producing content and there's accessing the service. Yeah. They also say that the majority of people access Twitter through mobile or a tablet. So I think it's interesting. And now you can find 230 million tweets a day. 230 million. Yeah. Roughly a billion tweets every 5 days. Yeah. It's quite massive. Yeah. So very important if you're on Twitter to start tweeting, yeah. And again, you've got so much to do or to talk about or to share on Twitter, yeah. And remember, it's not just about you as a brand. It's not just about a PR channel, a one-way PR channel. It could be about conversations. It should be about conversations. It could be about giving exposure to other types of content and sources from trusted sources like news sites, for instance, the likes of Sky, BBC, and so on and so forth. Some industry, again, news providers or broadcasters like the Financial Times and any other sources you seem fit. You need also to think about giving a voice to your customers, to your advocates, retweeting content, using bloggers. You need to say thank you, to ask questions to the people on Twitter. There's so much you can do, yeah? To me, my definition of active is a very, very minimum of 5 to 10 tweets a day, yeah? And it's not much, yeah? Very minimum to 5 or 10 tweets a day, yeah? Another perception as well is, we'd like to be on Twitter, but it's going to be too much work, yeah? We're going to receive too many requests, and we need a huge team. That is not the case, yeah? I want to be very clear. You can do a great job with one person or half a person even, a part-time to start with, yeah? With the right processes in place and with the right content strategy, basically, all the well-designed and ready to be implemented, yeah? You can schedule tweets as well, so you don't have to be 24/7, okay, in front of your computer screen. And you see here that's a distribution of the 1,560 accounts we're tracking in 72 countries, just in financial services. You see that 90% I've tweeted less than 5 times a day. And that's not much, yeah. And when I say 90%, the vast majority, close to 80%, so 79, I believe, I've tweeted less than 2 times a day. It's not enough, yeah. So you might think you're on Twitter because you've got an account, but please, I mean, understand what Twitter is and do a better job in terms of content strategy and reward as well, yeah. Otherwise, you can't just say it doesn't work for us, yeah. It's unacceptable, I think. So I talked about the inactive accounts. There are active accounts. This is the top 10 most active accounts we're following. It's not the most followed per se, okay, but there's a link usually, yeah. And you see here, so the most active 180 tweets a day. That's the most active, yeah. So it doesn't mean again that you have to do much to be interactive and interacting well on Twitter. Huh? So you see here, you see a good representation in terms of countries. It's not just in the US, and you might think that, okay? You see various countries, you see various accounts focused on various goals, okay? The usual type of account, which generates the most tweets a day, are the accounts dedicated to customer support, yeah? Customer care on Twitter. And you see here, you see accounts like Orbit Jacobs from South Africa, FNB, you've got a Bank of America Help, you've got American Express, Ask Amex, SunTrust, Wells Fargo, TD Bank, ABN AMRO. Most of the account is focused on customer support, Citi, Geico, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So you've got at least in that 20, you've got roughly about 10 accounts dedicated to customer support. And this is why you see the high level of activity. Yeah. But again, you can do very well on Twitter, but you need to start again tweeting now, have the right strategy, and schedule your tweets as well. Yeah, in the long term, it's recurrent tweets you can easily schedule using like tools like Hootsuite or TweetDeck. So there's ways to do a great job. But the key point I'm making, the industry hasn't started to use Twitter as of today. Yeah, and we are I believe the 8th of October 2011. So there's still a lot to do on that field. If you want to get better on Twitter, if you want to better understand what are the best practices, what doesn't work and what does work, please reach out to us on Visible Banking. Christophe Langlois, Visible Banking, London, UK.